So let me talk a little bit about Level Up, this song that I have loved and used in so many contexts. So Level Up, the title of this sacred text that we're going to be looking at, this song by Vienna Teng, it's a gaming term. Now, I have no idea if Vienna meant it as a gaming term. We'll find that out in a little bit. But anyone who has played video games know that they come with a structural hierarchy of progress. You defeat the monster, you make the voyage, you collect the icons, and then you move up to the next level. It's a simple, understandable way to assess where you are in relationship to where you want to be. As gaming language, it has become more common. It's made it into our everyday vernacular, a moving to the next stage. So my beloveds, we are moving into the next stage of this pandemic, but also in how we human in this extraordinary time. Vienna Teng's song tells us that it is time to level up. She says what so many of us believe. There will be no sign from above. You'll only hear the knock, knock, knock of your own heart as a signal. She also says, begin again. Dynamite the dam on the flow. Your body feels the tock, tock, tock of time as it hammers. Lord, we are all cinders from a fire burning long ago, but here it is the knock, knock, knock of your own heart that matters. Now, I need to be very clear about my interpretation of the come on out and don't be afraid language. Ms. Teng was not writing this in the pandemic, and I am not saying that it is time for all of us to come out and not be afraid. As Unitarian Universalists, we can look at this metaphorically, not literally. Some of you may be coming out, some of you may be staying in for months longer, but we are definitely entering a new phase of this pandemic. And we have the opportunity to determine what kind of people we want to be, what kind of community we want to create, and what kind of world we want to live in. And we have the unique, possibly a once in a lifetime opportunity to intentionally create this world as we recreate our lives after this disruptive time. We can intentionally go into this time and say, who do we want to be? Now, I want to be very clear about another things. If we go back to the gaming metaphor, many times you can level up by just spending time in the game, by just being. You don't have to do anything. To put a fine point on it, we have leveled up by just being and existing and surviving in this time together. We have felt worry, fear, and care together. You don't have to do anything extraordinary to level up. You've already done it. You are here. Congratulations, you have reached the next level. But I do believe that we have the opportunity as a religious community to level up right now, to be more of what we dream to be, to live how we wish the world would live, to be free how we wish all could be free. I am inviting you to look around your world and see if and how our society and our congregation are leveling up. Radical inclusion are beloved words of our vision statement. This is who we aspire to be. Reopening is an opportunity to live into that vision. We were not 100% accessible before the pandemic, and we will not be afterwards. But in looking as to when to reopen, we are centering those who are still on the margins. Our children under 12 who aren't eligible for the vaccine, and those who would be left out. This is an opportunity for how we see the world overall. Who are we centering? Is it the people who already have the access, the privilege, the opportunities? Or are we centering those on the margins? As we look at how our society opens up, I invite you to look at that from the perspective of who will be left out, who is being excluded from our community by our decisions. This is a great mindset to have overall if we are to be justice-centered. In this time, we have learned to be amazingly creative, to imagine totally new ways to do things, to band together and care for each other in ways that we could not have imagined before. In this congregation, we will never not have an online component ever again. We're going to be working hard to make sure that anyone who joins us online will continue to have a personal connection to our services. We don't know all the answers. We're going to exper-learn. That's my word. I hope that you all will exper-learn with me. We're going to experiment with something. We're going to learn from it. If we need to adjust, we will adjust. How can we use that creativity in other ways? To reimagine policing, perhaps, to rethink mental health after this time that has been straining for everyone, to reimagine how we think about borders, to reimagine community. There is one thing that we definitely know. It will take all of us, each and every one of us. In our own way, we are wanting to level up, to continue our journey through life, whatever that might be, wanting more for our community, wanting each day to be the kind of person that we know that we can be. The song says, if you are afraid, come forth. If you are alone, come forth now. Everyone here has loved and lost. So level up and love again. Call it any name you need. Call it your 2.0, your rebirth, whatever. So long as you can feel it all, so long as your doors are flung wide, call it your day number 1, the rest of forever. Whether leveling up for you means prioritizing your mental health, whether it means prioritizing those who you have missed the most, your family and your friends, whether it means recognizing what has really been most important for you and focusing on that, whether it is self-care, whether it is commitment to justice, whatever it is, we have the opportunity now to level up. I hope you will do that with us. And now, I cannot believe I'm saying these words, but I would have the great honor of introducing the composer and performer of this amazing song, Vienna Teng. Vienna is a singer, a songwriter, an accomplished pianist. She's released 5 studio albums, 1 live album, and has toured internationally. And in addition, she's been a software engineer, and in the middle of her career, also got an MBA and a master's in the School of Natural Resources and Environment at University of Michigan. So Vienna is coming to us from Washington, D.C., and with her daughter, who was born the month before the pandemic shut down. So her first year of motherhood has been like many of those in our congregation. So we welcome you, Vienna. We are so, so glad that you're here with us. Welcome.
Oh, it is such a beautiful honor to be here and to sit here in contemplation and in celebration and community with all of you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So oh my goodness. And just so you all know, we told Vienna that we are a very multi-generational congregation, and we love children's sounds in our service. So we're so glad your daughter can be here with you. So we would love to hear from you. We kind of talked about what this song means to us. What was the impetus for this song? What was your thinking when you wrote it?
Yeah, well, as in the intro of the song, when I performed it with Alex and didn't give him enough clues of what the song was that I was going to be playing, the seed of it was a climate change seminar that I was taking in graduate school. And definitely just kind of wrestling with why am I here if we don't know whether this is something that can be solved in time. And a lot of us kind of going through these waves of, depression and paralysis or denial, and just figuring out like, well, what is another way to sit with all this, to get up every day. I have to say there were a few other inspirations for the song, one of which was while I was at the University of Michigan, a number of other students were getting very involved in the city of Detroit and the communities in Detroit, and really trying to bring the narratives of, there's a real kind of story of Detroit being this messed up, fallen city, that's dangerous and scary. And a lot of them said, look, we grew up there and there are amazing things happening there. And it's really actually more exciting than you would think. And so realizing that there were people that I had to learn from also, to make some of those, to learn some of the lessons of like how do you actually move forward in a difficult time? Because if anyone's done that, it's the people of Detroit and the people who have been in Detroit a long time and have been part of the sort of resistance and even kind of rebuilding movements there. And the last one has to be actually my husband, who I met while I was in graduate school as well. And he was living in Detroit, was a long time, was born there, lived there for years, and was really kind of part of the community, trying to work on both sustainability and climate issues and racial justice issues. And I guess I had this perception that someone who would be involved in things like that would just be really kind of angry or, kind of up in arms all the time. And what I found was just this really joyful person who lit up at the sight of a Juneberry, when they became ripe on the trees, and loved nothing more than to, pull out a mandolin and, sing a song out of nowhere. And so I just falling in love with this person and what he's about, and just kind of this continual discovery of what it means to engage with the world was also one of the big reasons I managed to finish the song.
That's awesome. Love inspires us in amazing ways. My family's from Flint, so I know the resiliency of the community and how they have decided to own their story and their community. Thank you. So you've been at home with a baby in a pandemic. Here we are talking about it now. What does level up mean for you through this lens? It's obviously still climate change and all of those are relevant, but so many other things. What does it mean to you now?
That's a great question. I feel like over the past year, people have said, wow, having a baby during the pandemic, that must have been extra hard. And I feel like, well, it almost felt like in this weird, surreal way, like my whole world went into maternity leave with me in a way that I wouldn't wish on anyone, in terms of having their lives disrupted. Because for me, it was something that I knew was coming. And so in a way, I felt like I was, in some strange way, very fortunate, because I was cocooning. I was preparing to just kind of have my world get very small and very focused. And so in some ways, it was a strangely beautiful year on kind of the micro level. And I am there are some people in this congregation who share this experience of I was so on the fence and so ambivalent about having a biological child of my own. My husband already has two wonderful kids, and so I'm this stepmom figure in their lives, and it's a wonderful role to play. And I just always wondered whether that was perfectly enough. And so it was with almost some trepidation and kind of like, well, here goes, that I decided to kind of step into becoming a biological mom, and just having no idea whether I would take to it, whether things would be super hard, whether things would be just not what I thought they were. And just fortunately for me, it's been this amazing discovery of what it means to just kind of focus and really get to know someone and really say, like, I'm here to be in service to you. Like, who are you and who are you becoming? And let me pay attention to that and let go of whatever I might have preconceptions about what you're supposed to be or what you're supposed to be doing. And so that I feel like has been a really great leveling up for me, of like just being constantly called to notice somebody as they really are, and to figure out, how do I support you as you really are? So that's one. And I think another is we moved to DC right before the pandemic too, hoping to connect to a community. And of course, that's been extra challenging. But for me, recently, I've started to get just lightly involved in the mutual aid group that's here in DC. And for me, in addition to kind of also, again, lightly participating in the Black Lives Matter protests and some of the other movements that really kind of swelled last year, I feel like as a person coming from really relative privilege and shelteredness, I'd always supported a lot of these causes kind of in theory and, with my checkbook, but never really kind of stepped into it and like was just like a person with other people kind of working side by side. And for me, it's been really eye-opening and wonderful and, hard in some ways and beautiful in other ways to just kind of be in this mutual aid group where it's just literally like one person showing up for another, one day at a time. And just the things that I've learned about, a lot of my preconceptions are wrong. A lot of the things that I kind of idealize are not so, like a lot of the things turn out to be a lot less monolithic and, more complicated and more wonderfully surprising sometimes than I think. And so that's been one of the ways I'm trying to level up now too.
That's awesome. That's amazing. What an awesome. And I see the connections between those two. Like, I think that we've all been a little bit more vulnerable during this time. We've been a lot more human. There's this idea that, we're not perfect. We don't have all of our things together. We're going through this life, the best that we can in this. And I love the idea of seeing each person as an individual. That you're doing that with your family. You're also doing that through the mutual aid. What does this one person need? What can I do as one person? And that connects me to that line in your song of, we cannot do everything, but we are one. We are not everything, but we are one person. And what can we do? Whether that's fully seeing somebody or helping somebody the way that they need to be helped. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember writing the line after, so that there's that one part in the song, yes, you're only one, no, it is not enough, but, and I just remember that just blank page sitting after that but for the longest time, like,
what comes after the
but? Okay, so we're not enough, but like, but what? And so, it's not gender inclusive, obviously, the way that I wrote it, but so, but if you lift your eyes, I am your brother, meaning, if we all kind of just take this one thing at a time, we can do this, or let's do this.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. It's like, no, it is not enough. And I think that's something that we struggle with as Unitarian Universalists. We talk about, we see, the racial disparities, we see the immigration issues, we see all, and it can be so overwhelming. Like, I can't do all of these things, but what can we do? And even if that's just seeing somebody. So I'm wondering if other people have used this song in other ways that have surprised you or have given it different layers of meaning for you as well.
Yes, I think I've been so honored that there are different like musical ensembles who've covered it, some choirs who have made it, part of their repertoire, which is amazing. There's actually a Canadian, I think, TV show. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name, but there's a Canadian TV show about just like genderqueer, people living in both among themselves and like, in the wider community, kind of the dynamics that come about that. I think it's a comedy, a fun show. And Level Up is their theme song, I think because of, So Come Out. Yeah. So that's been really fun. Most recently, actually, I was really honored to hear that there's a podcast of two Asian American women who have been just sort of talking about, AAPI issues and just kind of their interpretation of different events happening, just sort of processing a lot of that, and also books and music that they've been falling in love with. And Level Up is the sort of the play in, play out song of their podcast too. So,
oh my gosh. That's awesome.
It's really, really fun to hear that sort of thing.
Yeah, it must just be a very cool feeling to see your art used in different ways. And you're in a worship service at in a congregation in Phoenix. Who would know?
It's really crazy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, and just beyond like kind of those sort of maybe higher profile or more like communal or public things, just sometimes people will just say like, I really love putting in Level Up, when I go for a run or when I feel like, it's time for me to just be my better self, for the next 30 minutes. So I love that the sort of pep talk song I wrote for myself to kind of remind myself like a musical sort of post-it note in the corner of my brain, like can be that for other people.
Yeah, well, it certainly has been for me. And I have probably shared it with over 100 people in different small groups that I've been in, and it's been such an inspiration. So I can't tell you how much this means to us for you to be here. I know that everyone else has joined it. By the way, you sound just like a Unitarian Universalist. There's several great congregations there. But we really appreciate you being here, for your insight, your amazing music, your work in the world. We wish you many blessings with your family, your mutual aid group, and on all that you are doing. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. And thank you for welcoming me to this, and for even giving me the honor of having this be a text that everyone would take a moment to sit with. And so thank you. Thank you, Reverend Christine, and thank you to all of you.
Many blessings to you.